You tell us Bino Ranson from the Terps, and we're all getting ready for this Dolphins-Ravens game on Sunday. But on Saturday night, great basketball game for all Terps fans. Terps with some big struggles against Pitt on Tuesday night. They now take on Oklahoma State Cowboys, and I've got the head Cowboy on right now, the head coach of the Oklahoma State Cowboys coming in here Saturday night. New head coach, Brad Underwood, via Stephen F. Austin and all that stuff, and we welcome him on for the first time. Brad, how you doing? How are things out in Oklahoma?
I'm doing tremendous. Thanks. It's appreciate you having me on.
Now, I know a lot of folks go to Hawaii for the suntan, but you had some ups and downs out there, but a great trip for you to take, I think, being a new coach there and having new players. Must have been a nice little bonding experience as well as some pretty good basketball, too.
Well, Maui's the elite event, in my opinion, in the preseason. It's one of those events, not just because of the location, but you get maximum TV coverage. It's one of those rare events that you go to, and there's literally 8 good teams. You have a great chance to go 0-3 as well as 3-0 if you play well, because the teams are that good. And you had 2 number 1 seeds from last year's NCAA tournament in North Carolina and Oregon in that. Perennial blue bloods, Georgetown and UConn and North Carolina and Wisconsin's been a Final Four team in 2 of the last 5-6 years. So you've got an elite field, and it was very good for us. We're a young basketball team, and to make the trip and bond as a team and come together. It's a hard trip, but it was a trip that was. We grew a lot as a team and was very positive for us.
Maryland's done a bunch of those over the years, whether it's San Juan, they've done Cancun, they've done the Bahamas. The Hawaii thing's a whole different animal, though. They take kids over there and not keeping them out of trouble, but just everybody wants to lay on the beach. Everybody wants to go sightseeing and do all of that type of stuff. You guys came out of the gate really nicely against Connecticut, obviously struggled against North Carolina, but that's probably a real nice preview of what you're going to be seeing with Baylor and with Kansas and Iowa State and some of the other elite teams in this country right now.
Well, we've been the number 1 RPI league in the country the last three years, and it's a tremendous challenge every single night. And we have a true round robin in our conference, and it's so we're playing everybody twice. Everybody's home court is spectacular. You've got great venues, so not just playing against great competition. Great coaches, but in the Big 12 we do it every single night in great venues as well. So you go to Maui and you see that, and the arenas are smaller, but they're packed. Everybody's brought their fans, and they clear it out after every game, and here come the fans again for that game, and it's really a fun atmosphere. And we're some of the other events you go to, there's nobody there. They're great venues, but there's nobody there. And this one's 2,400 seats, and it's packed, and it's loud, and it truly is like a home game or a road game, depending. And a lot of fun. A lot of fun comes out of Maui.
I know there's a lot of money and relationships and all that and all these decisions that go on in November and December to take games. Why is it a good idea to get on a plane and come play the Terps in College Park on a Saturday night? I know you inherit some of this stuff, but it's always unusual this time of year, whether you're playing, you chose Central Arkansas, Campbell, some other small schools, but then, Maryland hasn't taken on the toughest schedule here in the early going, which may help, Turgeon, quite frankly, and getting himself together, because there's been a lot of turnover for the Terps this year too.
Well, I think one thing, I think you schedule a little bit based according to your team, and Mark is such a good basketball coach, and Maryland's such a great program, and historically it's one of the elite programs in America, and I want to build our brand and our trademark through playing good people. And this game was on the schedule, and I'm great with that. We need to play these people. We're going to go play in one of the great venues in college basketball in front of one of the great student bodies and one of the great home courts. Guess what? We're going to do that 9 times in conference play. We need to experience that, and we need to do that against a high-level, well-coached basketball team. And I think players want to play in big games. And I think they want to play against the best competition. And in today's world, they all know each other through AAU basketball and that culture and something I believe in. we're going to have one of the toughest strengths of schedule in the country with what we've got coming up and what we've already played. And I'm not afraid to go on the road. And we've got to grow. We've got to find out who our basketball team is. And I think you do that by stressing them some.
Juwan Evans and Melo Trimble. This is a nice little a shootout between the Cowboys and the Terps. I know it's more than that, but certainly for folks tuning in who aren't familiar with either program, these are some guys we are familiar with, and this is going to be a pretty nice little matchup you got going on with some guards, right?
Yeah, I think it's two of the better guards in America, and I have tremendous respect for Melo and the career he's had to this point, and he's an outstanding player, and yeah, we're very, very excited about the start that Juwan Evans has gotten off to, and he's had some big nights. He's the catalyst for us. He's our leader. He's a guy that is, our quarterback, so to speak. And when you have two lead guards that are of that talent, they have a tendency to make the other players on their teams better, and both of these guys do that.
Brad Underwood joining us here. He is the head coach at Oklahoma State, the new coach there. How long do you get to be the new coach? Is that 1 year before you become the veteran there?
That's a great question. I don't know how long they keep using that new coach term. But,
does it feel new to you? I mean, you haven't been anywhere super long, but you certainly are very familiar with the conference, right?
Yeah, I know the conference well. I grew up in the league. I spent I'm a Kansas guy, native, grew up in Kansas, played at Kansas State.
We like purple around here. I'm in Baltimore. Purple's good here. It always works.
Purple's good. I doubt if you can get Coach Turgeon to tell you that he likes purple. He'll probably, being the Jayhawk that he is, but no. And Mark was a great player and played at Kansas, and I was a player at Kansas State at that time, and he's from Topeka, Kansas. I'm from McPherson, Kansas, and so I know the league well, and it was a right fit for me and my family, and we're excited to be at Oklahoma State. It's a tremendous basketball school. It's got great culture and tradition, and it's one of those rare programs that has like Maryland, that has a great tradition and great following.
Well, look at you. I mean, Turgeon has to come in on the backside of Gary and Lefty and everything. I mean, you got Eddie Sutton and Hank Iba running around there, right? So, those ghosts are in the hallways there. Not only that, Big Country. I remember Big Country playing here 20 years ago with Randy Rutherford in a tournament game. You got Little Country going on there too, right?
We got Little Country going on, and I'd like to have Big Country on Saturday. He'd help, and but it's what makes Maryland special. You got so much tradition, and you don't create that overnight. And here at Oklahoma State, Mr. Iba is one of the great teachers in the history of college basketball. You got Eddie Sutton with 806 wins and 2 Final Fours. Mr. Iba won 2 national titles. Not many people could say that.
That means you'll be the new coach for 10 years against those guys, right?
I hope so. I hope they keep saying new coach in 10 years, but it's what makes it special, and we've got one of the great arenas in college basketball and great home courts, and Maryland's obviously got that as well, and it's what makes it fun, and I'm sure that's why Mark was drawn to that program, and it sure was impactful for me in my decision to come to Oklahoma State.
Well, you bring with you your coaching thing, and that would be pressure D. And my dad would always say to me, playing any sport, defense is about what happens before the game starts, and it's the thing that should never take a day off. There should never be that should be an automatic that you can play defense. Anybody could play good defense if taught and if there's effort, and certainly under the core of everything you do and your predecessors, it's about pressuring, right?
Yeah, we've with maybe the exception of last night, I think little of the Maui Blues and the Hangover and little flat, but it is. It's what we've been good at. We've been able to force teams into some turnovers. We try to play very hard every single day. We're still working on our chemistry. at the defensive end, and we're still making some mistakes. But part of that is youth and trying to instill a new philosophy. But I love our guys. Our guys are buying in. They're working very hard, and they're committed to it. And and it's allowed us to be good on the offensive end and forcing teams into some turnovers. And we'll have our challenges on Saturday, but it's what we do and how we've got to continually work to get better. And our defensive chemistry is not there yet, but we're working at it.
Brad, you know as much about recruiting as anyone. You spent so much time down there in Texas, from Kansas and all that. Maryland's always had trouble recruiting here in Baltimore. Just going back to Lefty Driesell and some bad feelings in Georgetown and John Thompson. I'm going back 30 years. Turgeon got a kid out of Mount St. Joe here that's coming in next year. I don't know as much about it as I used to when I was certainly in the ACC back in the glory days where, up and down Norfolk and North Carolina and the recruiting trail for what you were going through with Dean Smith and Coach K and all that. Now we're out in the Big Ten. We're trying to figure that out. And I look down your roster. I don't want to say I was shocked. I mean, I don't know where all the good players come from, but it certainly feels like Dallas is a huge part of what you're trying to build out there in Stillwater, right?
Well, I think when you look in the fabric of the Big 12, with maybe the exception of West Virginia, everything goes through Texas. And it does that in football as well. It's not just our sport. So many. First of all, you have tremendous population, but you have tremendous athletes, and we're going back many years here at Oklahoma State, and we're a short bus ride from or short car ride from the Metroplex, Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. So it's we have a lot of enrollment here at Oklahoma State from the state of Texas. So it's very beneficial for us, and a lot of really good players in the state. And obviously we have a heavy influence with the Texas, the Baylors, the TCUs, in our conference. So we're going to be involved in Texas, and that's something that is it's a great recruiting base for us. There's very good high school coaches there. And we're going to continue to pound that area very, very hard.
Hey, Brad, good luck to you guys after Saturday night, of course, because I'm a Terps guy here. But, you talk about your relationship with Turgeon. How far back does that go? When's the first time you met Mark Turgeon?
Oh, it would have probably been sometime in middle school or early high school.
That's crazy, right? I mean,
growing up in the camp circuits in Kansas and playing against each other and Kansas isn't that big a state, and when you're a good player, and Turge certainly was, you hear about guys and you play against them in the summers, and then obviously he goes to Kansas and is part of something very magical there, and then when he was a student assistant, he was and this is back when they had JV basketball. I was a junior college coach at Dodge City Community College, and we played the Kansas JV basketball team, and Turge was the head coach, and that was back when Roy had just taken over, and I have a young man on my staff, Stephen Gentry, who worked for Turge at Texas A&M. So we have a lot of connections through a lot of different sources that go way back a lot of years, and Mark's one of the really, really good people in the profession and good guys, and he's obviously proven that he's a very, very good basketball coach.
None of that means a hill of beans at 9:00 on Saturday night, though, does it?
No, we're gonna fight at 9:00. But beforehand we'll shake hands and hug, and we'll do it again after. And in the meantime, both teams I think are going to play extremely hard and hook it up, and it's the way it should be. It should be a very, very good major college basketball game.
Coach, I enjoyed the visit, man. Thanks for spending some time with us today. Good luck to you guys the rest of the way.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me on.
You got it. Brad Underwood, head coach at Oklahoma State of the Big 12, coming in and taking on the Terps on Saturday night at 9 o'clock. And, of course, we've got Fish Fry at 1 o'clock on Sunday. Dolphins and the Ravens getting together. Full coverage at WNST.net. Luke will be on the scene. I will be on the scene. We'll be making that happen. Nasty at WNST.net reaches me out on the internet, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, streaming live on Facebook Live, as well as on our YouTube WNSTV channel. Anything you missed this week, if you missed head coach Barry Trotz, you missed Bino Ranson, you just came in on the backside of Brad Underwood, you can find it all in the Bahia Toyota Audio Vault at WNST.net. We've had a heck of a week around here. I hope everybody stays safe through the weekend, enjoys the football game. Maybe we'll get back in here on Sunday night and have some great football to talk about. We'll be streaming on the web all weekend long. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore. And we never stop talking Baltimore sports.